This episode, we're going to talk about nozzles, or what they used to call them back then was play pipes. The reason they called them play pipes is because if you read in the old articles, they played the stream upon the fire, is how they termed it. So they came up with the term play pipe. This one is a 2-inch brass one right in front. That belongs to the Rough and Ready. The one next to it is Union Engine. It's a copper one with handles so that you can stand on the tip and work the stream wherever you want it. Normally, as you're playing with the play pipe, you would have it like this. And there's different lengths. There's 30 inch, there's 28 inch, 26 inch, and then some. This one is part of the Union Engine Company, and this is referred to as a 5-foot play pipe because it's 5 foot long. And this fixture that it's held in is similar to what we call today a deluge set. I think it might be the Forerunner, because it's got a spike on the end where you could drive it into the ground, and then there's 2 handles here where you could push down into the ground, and you could hold the pipe or this itself to play it around, and you're not fighting the nozzle reaction force, as they call it, which is the amount of pressure trying to push the hose and the nozzle back away from the fire. What's unique about these is they have a replaceable tip or changeable tip on them. It's just a matter of it slides down in and screws in. You turn it to tighten it so it doesn't leak. What I like about them is you have different sizes of holes. This happens to be a 1-inch. They had 3/4, quarter, half, different sizes, and it was quick and easy to change. You just unscrew it a little bit, pull it out, put the other one in, tighten it up, and you're back in business shooting a stream of water. But this belonged to the Union Engine Company, the nozzle. We'll set this out of the way. These in the center, they've got a handle on each side. They were referred to as chief nozzles. So you could have a guy on each side because usually they were on a 2.5-inch hose and there's a decent amount of pressure. The brass play pipes were usually used with a hand engine. Then they got into motorized apparatus when they started using the chief's nozzle. You could use the chief's nozzle with a hand engine. Might not be quite as effective because hand engines, they tire you out in a very quick hurry, or a very short period of time. But there's 3 different types of chief nozzles, and above them are a couple collapsible water buckets, canvas water buckets for fire brigades, a fireman's lantern, and then there's two nozzles that are half-inch stream of water. They go on what they call a booster line, which was usually, they made them for 1.5-inch hose, and they made them for 1-inch hose, which was referred to more commonly as a booster line because it was small and very easily maneuverable. On the top shelf, the last two, these 2 big ones, are variable pattern. So you could go from a stream, you could go out to a fog pattern, what they called a fog pattern, which broke it up and made a big cone out of water. And you could adjust the gallonage, the more water flow or less water flow. They measure it in gallons per minute. On the bottom, you've got one that's aluminum colored with a funny looking bottom, and that's a cellar nozzle. And the idea of that is You would cut a hole in the floor if you had a fire in the basement or a fire below you that you couldn't get to. You could cut a hole in the floor, drop the head of it down through the hole, and these arms spread out to keep it from dropping through the floor. And the head of it spins and acts like a sprinkler head. It'll spin and throw the water all in 360-degree circles. Behind it are two pistol grip nozzles for a booster line or inch and a half hose or 1-inch booster line. And you can adjust the pattern on them. They're pretty much 95 gallon a minute nozzle. They flow 95 gallons a minute, but you can adjust the pattern from a stream to a mist. There's also what they refer to as a Rockwell or Navy nozzle. It's made out of brass that would be on a booster line, 1-inch hose. And there's a Santa Rosa, which was an early version of a variable pattern nozzle. And then up here on the wall, I had the privilege of using one of these when I was in the service, in the military, in the Navy. These were used, this was a Rockwell nozzle, and this was an extension for the Rockwell nozzle that we used for fighting oil fires. If you had a pool of oil on the ground and it was burning, you could take this Rockwell nozzle and it would flow foam through it, water and a foam concentrate, and it would come out this end in a spray and lay down on, it would form foam film or a foam layer on top of the oil, and it would keep the air, the oxygen, from getting to the oil and smother the fire. And you could actually walk through if you dragged your feet. You didn't pick your feet up and back down. You just kind of shuffled along. This is another variation of the foam nozzle. This is a foam inductor. The supply water would come in here. It would hook to here on the discharge side. And this portion would go into a 5-gallon bucket or a 5-gallon pail of foam concentrate. And through siphoning, and it would siphon the concentrate up and mix it with the water. And then it would go through a hose into the Rockwell nozzle. The Rockwell nozzle has two positions, 3 positions. Closed, and one would be, there's a small 3/8 opening in the top that would shoot the foam and water kind of mixture out through here, and it would mix with air and just kind of dribble out, or it would flow out. You could get a little distance on it. If you pulled it all the way back, it went down here. This one stopped flowing and it started flowing out here. This mixed it up and mixed air in with it, and it just kind of dribbled down in front of you, and you could do it that way. You could put that foam layer on the burning oil and shuffle through it. That's about all I got. Oh, wait a minute. This is a cute one. This is known as a distributor nozzle. It works very similar to the cellar nozzle. You cut a hole in the floor and you put this on a 2.5-inch hose, stick it down through the hole in the floor or the hole in the wall, and this piece spins and throws the water in all directions, and it pushes itself. It would spin this direction, and you would throw the water around in the room that you couldn't get into. We jokingly refer to it as a probing nozzle because all the new kids get to experience it. That's about it.